I cannot even tell you how much things have changed since my last video. So in my last video, I talked about how I was basically in the void state and I was really struggling. I wasn't having a very good time and things were really hard. Things remained difficult after that video for a few days, but I think I finally reached a point where I understand myself, I understand resistance, and I understand where I was going wrong. So a few days after my last video, I basically had a crash out. I just had a moment where I got so fed up of the universe. I got so fed up of manifestation. I got so pissed off at everything I've been through this year. All the letdowns, all the disappointments, all the times something didn't work out. And I just decided to go on a rampage and just rage it out. And I literally sat there and I raged at the universe. I let myself get angry, I let myself get upset, I let myself get pissed off, and I just let the universe have it. I sat there and I said, hey, universe, angels, ancestors, whoever, fuck you. How dare you put me through what you've put me through this year? How dare you consistently hold me back and keep what I deserve away from me? And why would you put me through that? It's not fair. It's not okay. I don't deserve any of this. I deserve to be happy. Like, fuck you guys. It sounds silly, but I just let the universe have it and I let it all out and I didn't hold back. I got so angry. I was shaking with rage. I was crying. It was intense. But I needed to do that because for so long I had been holding my emotions back and I had been pretending that I didn't feel the way I felt. I was pretending that I didn't feel angry. I was pretending I wasn't sad, that I wasn't grieving this life that I thought I'd have by now. I was grieving all of the disappointment and all of the times something didn't work. And I decided enough is enough. You know, I'm not going to sit back and pretend anymore. I'm going to let you know exactly how I feel and I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to temper my emotions. I'm not going to pretend I feel a way I don't. Completely let it all out. After I did that, still absolutely raging, still absolutely furious, I demanded and declared to the universe that things are not going to be that way anymore. I'm not putting up with it anymore. It's not going to happen. It's not going to fly, not on my watch. I said, this is not how my life is going to be. Not anymore. From now on, things are going to be easy. Things are going to flow effortlessly. I'm not going to have to work hard anymore. My manifestations are coming in now. Now. I declared it. And I was no longer going to ask. I was no longer going to beg. I was no longer going to try and appease the universe. I was no longer going to be grateful for scraps. Because for so long, and this is something that I see often in the community, is everyone talking about gratitude, right? Which obviously gratitude is good, but at a certain level, why am I still at this point feeling grateful for the bare minimum? Why am I grateful for just enough? Why am I grateful for pennies, for crumbs, for scraps, for leftovers? That's not what I asked for. That's not what I deserve. So I said, listen, I'm not doing anymore. You bring me what I asked for. There's no other option. After I did that, I kind of calmed down a bit and I just let it sit. Still a little bit fired up for a while, but I just let it move through me. I didn't judge it. I didn't try to feel a different emotion, force it away. And then a few hours later, go out into my kitchen and in the middle of the floor, what do I see? I see a fucking worm. I don't know how a worm got into my home. That has never happened to me before. I have never seen a worm in my house before, and there's no way that it could have gotten in. The door wasn't open, the window wasn't open. I can't explain that. So I was like, this has to be a synchronicity, right? I looked up what a worm represents, what a worm means spiritually. And a worm kind of represents a few things, but it represents the cycle of death and rebirth. It represents transmutation, because the purpose of a worm in the ground is to aerate stagnant soil. It's to take the waste products that are in the soil and turn them into nutrition for the ground so that things can thrive and grow and get nutrients. And that's kind of exactly the cycle that I was in at the time, like transmuting this angry emotion into something powerful that I could manifest with, instead of wallowing and begging and crying and feeling like shit. I could instead use my emotions as a channel, as a way to direct energy, which is exactly what transmutation is. And the earthworm represents that perfectly. So I chose to see that as a sign. Later on that night, I decided to draw some tarot cards, and the tarot cards pretty much directly reflected the exact message that that worm had represented. This whole idea of shifting into a new identity, dropping my old story, and quantum leaping into a new era. So I felt pretty good about that. Following day after that, I started the day feeling a bit rocky, but ultimately I felt good about what had happened the day before. There was still a little bit of leftover energy going on, but I just chose to reiterate what I said the day before and declare once again that things were going to be different from now on. I wasn't going to put up with any of that bullshit that I'd been putting up with in the past. And then later on that day, I got a message from a friend. She sent a message saying that her cat had brought in a worm. She's never ever said her cat has done that before. It happened to happen the day after I saw a worm in my kitchen. That was a bit of a crazy synchronicity. Later on that evening, I drew some tarot cards again, and once again, they basically confirmed, yeah, this is shifting. This is like leaping into a new timeline. This is a completely different path. The whole thing with the anger and all that emotion, that was the kind of catalyst to push me into this new chapter, to let go of that resistance and that pain I'd been holding on to and the resentment I held, and completely release it from my body, because that was the block. That's what was holding me back. And the cards completely reflected that. So that was kind of crazy. And now since then, I've really felt this sense of peace, this genuine detachment, and this genuine feeling of my manifestations being inevitable. I'm not feeling the need to rush or control or push or strive or stress or worry, because even if those thoughts come into my head, it's immediately replaced by, it's going to happen, don't worry about it. It's done, it's sorted. I don't think there's been a time in my entire manifesting journey thus far where I could genuinely say that, because before it was always me just trying to convince myself that I was chill, I could trust, and that I was letting go. It wasn't actually genuine. And I think a big reason for that is the idea that you have to be high vibe all the time, or that your thoughts have to be perfect all the time. And any small doubt or any small waver could derail your manifestation. That's what so many teachers and gurus and coaches preach, is that you have to have a really, really good mental diet and self-concept, and you need to not doubt anything at all, even though they say you only have to be on it 51% of the time. If something doesn't work, then they always say, oh, well, you must have been doubting, you must have been wavering. Apparently, even one time is enough. Truly, I feel like my entire energy has completely shifted. My entire demeanor even shifted. How I think of things, how I approach things, my attitude towards things, how I interact with people around me. I have entered a new era, properly this time. This feels very different to any big moment I've had before. Where am I at now then? Well, right now I'm in a phase where I'm not feeling the need to push and strive or do loads of things and try loads of things and panic and do all these things that I would have done before. I genuinely just feel a sense of chill, zen, relaxation, because I have so much faith and trust that it's literally happening right now. It's working out right now. And there's no need to worry, there's no need to stress. Even in the time between my last video and this one, like my skin has improved loads. I've been a lot more consistent with routines that I have. I've been drinking a lot more water, which I'm normally awful with. And I just genuinely know in my soul that things are gonna work out and that everything will be fine. I'm getting my manifestations no matter what. This kind of state of being is new to me. It doesn't feel scary or unfamiliar. Even though last night especially, I had moments where I felt really anxious out of nowhere. It wasn't fear. It wasn't based on anything happening in my life. It wasn't my thoughts racing and worrying about how am I going to do this and what's going to happen with this and what happened to that. My thoughts were quiet. My thoughts were peaceful. My mind was calm. But my body felt anxious and my body was freaking out. This is the kind of thing where a shift has happened and a mindset change has happened, but the body hasn't quite caught up. And it's still learning that this new state of being is good and it's okay and it's safe and there's nothing to worry about. You don't have to create worries or anxiety for no reason. So that's where I'm at this week. I don't really have much more to say on this and I don't want to ramble anymore, but I really feel like I'm at a turning point with this. Even the things that I used to rely on to give me comfort, needing to get external validation from signs or from tarot or even from people in my life, that kind of need for approval has gone away as well. I feel good about things this week, which is a welcome change. And it all came from actually releasing my emotions and letting everything out. How I think, how I felt, everything that's been building up. And I would encourage you, if you felt angry and full of grief and resentment, let the universe have it. Because then you're setting the tone and you're saying, I'm not tolerating this anymore. But anyway, I hope this video made sense. I hope someone gets something from this. It shows people that things can change quite quickly. 1 week you're struggling with trusting and you're feeling like giving up and it feels like everything's going wrong and nothing's working. Things can change into a state of peace and trust quicker than you think. Know that if no one else in your life gets it, then I get it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to hear more about my journey, you can watch my other videos. I only have 2 other videos on my channel at the moment. Subscribe if you want to see more and like the video, it helps a lot. Until next time.